start studying and you realize, that, oh my gosh, I thought I knew how to do this, but I don't, you need to get yourselves in here, okay? All right, let's get these. Yeah, but the test is Thursday, but I'm talking about tomorrow during class. We're not going to wait until Thursday to look at the practice work.
Studying tonight.
Good. Start tonight and then continue. All right, we're ready for number 10 on practice test 2. I made myself know.
9 draft.
No, we drafted it.
7.
We're on number 10.
All right, number 10, here we go. We're going to change into vertex form by completing the square. All right, here we go. Come on, get your homework turned in. Shante, you got some gum going there. Spit it out, bring me a box of Kleenex, full-size non-generic. Okay, she doesn't play football, so you're safe. Right? Okay, how do I complete the square here? What do I need to do?
Subtract 9.
Or no, divide by 3. No, well, it doesn't matter. It's okay to subtract 9 first. You don't have to subtract 9 first, but it's okay to do that. Now, however, we have to do something. Now we have to do what? Divide by 3. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. In 2 days, you have to do this by yourself, so pay attention. What do I do now? I figure out what I need to add to both sides. And what I need to add is half of this number squared. So half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Now I did that so that this would be a square. Remember, the vertex form of a parabola is something like this, right? That's what the vertex form of a parabola looks like. Now, what square do I have here? X minus, it's always this sign right here, so it's x minus 2. Right? Now, what's over here? Y over 3 plus 1. Now, what do I do next? Subtract the 1 back over. We got to get things back in shape. And then multiply by 3. And when I multiply by 3, I multiply the parentheses by 3, but not what's in it. That 2 stays 2. And that's it. Change into vertex form, you're done. It's in vertex form. You don't have to do anything else with it. Okay. Which are polynomials? If not, why not? So let's do the yeses first. Are there any yeses?
Yeah.
Which one? B is a yes.
C.
That B is a polynomial. It's a yes.
C.
Chris or somebody over here said C.
Yep.
It is a yes. C is a yes. Now some of you might say, whoa, Mrs. Ford, there's a radical in there. Yes, but there's no X under it. That's the key. You can have radicals, you just can't have X's under them. So that's a polynomial. Right? Are there any others that are polynomials?
E.
E is a polynomial. E is a polynomial because even though there are fractions in there, none of them have an X in the denominator. That's the problem. X is in the denominator. You can have 1/2 and 2/3 and things like that. So that means the no's are A. And what's wrong with A? Why are you going to say why not? X in the denominator. And then we have a D. D is a no. And that's because X under the radical. Everybody good on that? You're going to ace that part. All right, write the equation of a linear function. What pops into your head when I say linear function? Not this. What's a linear function? Y equals mx plus b. line, linear, line. So what do? I've got 2 points, 1 comma 4 and 3 comma 8. What do? I find the slope. So m equals 8 minus 4 over 3 minus 1, and we're going to do that in the right order. 8 minus 4, 3 minus 1. So what does that work out to be? 2. So my slope is 2. Now what? Yep, pick a point. I'll just pick this one. And I'll say y equals mx plus b. So it looks like b is 2. So what do I put in the answer blank? Don't put any of this in the answer blank. None of that's the answer. What is the final answer? Y equals 2x plus 2. Perfect. That's the equation of your line. That's your answer. Now B, problem B, is this. This is the form for problem B. And you'll remember that because you're given the vertex. And when equations are written like this, it's called vertex form, right? The vertex of this one would be -5, -7, left 5, down 7. So if they tell me that I have a vertex of 3, 1, what can you tell me about my equation? What's in the parentheses? X minus 3. What's out here, outside the parentheses? Plus 1. Wouldn't that be a vertex of right 3, up 1? Now, what's missing, though? The number out in front. And you're not going to forget that because they gave you another point. And you're saying to yourself, well, what did they give me that point for? Well, they gave you that point so that you could plug it in for x and y, plugging in -4 for the x and 2 for the y, and we can work it out. -4 minus 3 is -7. So 2 equals 49n plus 1. Is that right? And then 1 equals 49 if I subtract 1 from both sides. And n equals 149. So what do I write in the answer blank? Y equals 149 x minus 3 squared plus 1. That's the answer. Now, does anybody have a question about that? Good? All right. 13, last problems before we start the next practice test. Number 13, here we go. Find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening. Vertex, axis, symmetry, direction of opening for both of these problems. And it says you can do whatever you want. I know what I want to do. What do you want to do to find your vertex, axis of symmetry? Negative b over 2a. This gives me my axis of symmetry straight out. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do that completing the square stuff. I don't have to do anything. It's negative b over 2a. That's my axis of symmetry. So what would it be for this problem? Negative b over 2a. Did you get x equals -3? Now that number is double duty because it comes up here to the vertex spot, and that's your x part of the vertex, right? And how do we find the y? Plug it in. So -3 squared is 9 minus 18. I'm putting in -3. I'm putting -3 into my equation. So 9 minus 18 minus 4. Negative 13. Good job. Which way is it open? Up. Now, can we do the same thing with this problem? We absolutely can. What's A? 3? What's B? No. B is negative 12 and C is 0. But I don't need C anyway. So negative B over 2A, my axis of symmetry, x equals negative B over 2A. So I got x equals 2, which means my vertex is 2 comma. Right? 2 comma what? Well, 2 squared times 3, 12, minus 24 plus 0, so negative 12. And which way is it open? Here we go. Practice test 2 complete. Let's take a look at 3. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's see if we can get her done. I think maybe we can. Find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening in the manner of your choice. Oh my gosh, we just did that. Are you tired of it yet? X equals negative B over 2A. So here we go. X equals negative B, 2A. What's 2 times a half? 1. That worked out. So your axis of symmetry is x equals 4. What's going to happen if you don't write x equals? You're going to lose some points, and that's dumb, right? X equals. Your vertex is 4 comma. Okay, here we go. What's 4 squared? We're going to do the squaring first. What's 4 squared? 16. Times a half. 8. Start with 8. Minus 4 times 4 is going to be minus 16. Plus 2? Negative 6. Which way do we open? Up. Perfect. One more of those. Axis of symmetry. X equals negative B over 2A. X equals negative 6. Right? Vertex then is negative 6 comma negative 6 squared. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. Nobody ever talks to me. Now I've got people talking to me in the middle of school. Okay, so what's the negative 6 squared? 36. 7 minus 72 minus 4. What is that?
Negative 40.
Thank you, negative 40. Negative 40. And direction of opening? Okay, that's done. All right, which are polynomials? Here we go again. Let's do the yeses first. Are any of them in the list there? This is problem number 2. Are any of them polynomials? C is a yes and D is a yes. Is there any confusion about that? Everybody's got C and D as yeses. What's wrong with A? X in the denominator. Can't have it. So you write no. There's an X in the denominator. How about B? No. Negative exponent. Good. How about E? No. X under the radical. Ethan, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to complete the square again. We can do this. Here we go. We're completing the square. This is We already did one like this today. How does it go? How do we start?
Divide by 4.
You divide everything by 4, and remember, the key there is everything divided by 4. So divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4, okay. Now what?
Subtract the 3 over.
Subtract the 3 over. Or subtract the 3 over. Now, Austin Kendrick, what comes next? This is the big step. Well, we want to make it factorable. Huh? Half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. Remember, the number that you add to both sides is half of this squared. Okay? Now, this is a perfect square. X minus 1. Over here, I just combine like terms, so I have minus 2. Althea, what happens next? Yep, get rid of that 2, moving back over to the other side. Good work, good work. And then finally, Robbie Bridges, what do I do to end it up, to finish it?
You divide each side by, multiply each side by 4.
Multiply everything by 4. So that's going to give me y equals, because I'm timesing it by 4. So I have y equals 4x minus 1 squared plus 8. Remember, we times by 4, times by 4, times by 4. Don't touch the 1. Find the equation of the linear function where f of 1 is 3 and f of 2 is 9. What do I do first? Find the slope. Linear function. Y equals mx plus b. So my slope will be 9 minus 3 over 2 minus 1, which is 6. Now, I recognized that this is 1 comma 3 and 2 comma 9. Hopefully you did too. So 9 minus 3, 2 minus 1. Mr. Curvin, what happens now? I got my slope.
You plug in the numbers into the y equals mx plus b.
So I can pick either point. I'll use this one because it's got smaller numbers. So in goes 3 for y, 6 for m, 1 for x, and then b, I'm looking for it. So 3 equals 6 plus b, and b equals negative 3. But John, I haven't written an answer down yet. I've done my work. What will the answer be, John? Y equals? Minus 3. Yep, 6x minus 3. Didn't this require to be negative 3? Yeah. So it'd be 6x minus 3. Everybody good with that? Kids? All right. Now we're going to do a vertex form of a parabola, quadratic function, and we know the vertex is -1, -2, and as soon as you write that down, kids, the minute you write it down, you're thinking, okay, my equation has something squared in it, and something on the end. What goes in the parentheses?
Plus 1.
X plus 1. And what goes on the end out here? Minus 2. Everybody okay with that? That's the vertex. That's the vertex. Now, I need to find that number in there, that missing coefficient. And I will find it by plugging in the other point, which is 2, 3. So I put the 3 in for the y and the 2 in for the x. Nick, you with us? So 3 equals, okay, 2 plus 1 is squared. So I got 9n minus 2. I'll add the 2 and divide. You get 5 9ths. But again, I don't want you to get so excited that you forget to write the answer. The answer will be y equals 5 9ths x plus 1 squared minus 2. Anybody have a question about that? All right, let's turn to page number 6. Here we go. We want the equation of this curve. Okay, now we haven't done any of these yet today. Let's see if we can remember what we're supposed to do. When you're going to write your own equation, how do you start? Identifying the points, because that's how I'm going to build my factors, right? I'm going to have some factors. How many factors is this problem going to have?
3.
How do we know there's 3? 3 dots, that's right. There's 3 dots on the x-axis. So where are those dots? Mrs. Ford did not label. Bad Mrs. Ford.
X plus 2.
So the x plus 2,
X plus 1 squared.
x plus 1, don't get ahead of me, Chris, and x minus 2. Would you everybody agree with that? Now Chris says that I should square this one. Now why would he say that? Because it bounces at that point. Now we are finished, except for one thing. There's a coefficient out here. Just like there was a coefficient out here, on that parentheses, there's a coefficient on this one. Joseph?
Plug in 0 for that.
So I'm going to plug in. Actually, I'm not going to put in 0. What am I going to put in? Look at you. Do you have your page out? What am I going to plug in? I'm going to plug in 2 for y and 1 for all of the x's. Look at your paper, everybody. Do you see what I'm doing? They gave me that other point. It's like in this problem, the directions said it contains this point. And that was the point we plugged in. Well, this curve contains the point 1, 2. So, 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 1 is 1 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 squared though. 4, negative 1. So 2 equals n times negative 12. So n equals 2 over negative 12, negative 1/6. And again, remember, you haven't written the answer yet. So y equals negative 1/6, x plus 2, x plus 1 squared, x minus 2. Does it make sense that that number came out negative? Look at the picture. Does anything ever start down and end down? Not unless it's a negative even power. Is this an even power? Excuse me, is this an even power?
Yeah.
Yep. With a negative, so it starts down and ends down. All right, number 7. These are the fun ones. The real life problems. When it says maximum, what word pops into my head? Vertex, vertex, vertex. So I got this equation, y equals negative 16t squared plus 48t plus 2. And I need to find the vertex. Well, we've done 4 of those already today. What's the shortcut? How do you find the vertex without going through all that arithmetic? Negative b over 2a. So negative b over 2a is 1.5. Now, you're going to have a calculator, so if that kind of arithmetic comes up, you're good. You can do it. I get 1.5. So my vertex is 1.5 comma something. How do I know I'm looking for the vertex? It has the word maximum in it. The problem says maximum. That's vertex. How do I find my y coordinate? Plug it in. So I'm going to take 1.5 and square it, and take it times negative 16. That's negative 36. 48 times 1.5 is 72, and then plus 2. So what does that add up to?
34.
I think 38.
38.
Everybody with me so far? That's exactly what we did before. Only now I have to interpret it. Because now it says, what's the max height? And what is the time to reach max? So there are 2 questions and there are 2 numbers. Which one goes where? Time is 1.5, so that's 1.5 seconds, or minutes, seconds, so 1.5 seconds. And the height is 38 feet. Now, don't you dare be confused by that. When I wrote the equation, instead of x's, I used t's, right? Because they did on the paper, but that's an x. X's are t's, so the x coordinate is the time. The y coordinate is the height. All right, so far I'm acing this test. What about you? Feel pretty good about it? All right, number 8, synthetically divide. Okay, I promise you I'm going to trick you. All right, I tried to trick you on this paper, but you're going to catch it, right? Your numbers are 2, negative 8, 0, 9, negative 2. I left a gap.
Not like you tricked us, like.
I did trick you, I did. That's what I'm going to do too. Because that Tricky is my middle name. I'm just Tricky. Now we drop that 2 straight down. Would you quit looking around?
I think he's making noise, so I keep looking over it.
Oh, quit looking over. Focus on me. So we have, all right, I'm going to do this and you help me out here if I'm wrong. I do that kind of fast, so I want to make sure it's right.
You're right.
I'm right?
Yeah.
So then in the quotient blank, and then we have a remainder blank. So what do I write in the quotient blank? 2x to the third. And remember, kids, it's to the third because this one was to the fourth. And it's always 1 less. So it's 2x cubed minus 6x squared minus 6x plus 3. And what do I put in the remainder spot? 1. That's the remainder. Number 9. Consider this function, list the possible rational roots. Oh, there aren't very many. What are the PRRs for this problem? 1 and 2. That's it. Factors of last over factors of first. So factors of 2 over factors of 1. All right, that was easy. Now find them. All right, so here's my problem. I wonder sure 2 works. 2 looks kind of promising. Yep, there it is. 2 does work. Now, remember, I'm old and I practice. I'm also running low on time, so I'm kind of rushing a little bit. So you might try a number and it won't work. So then you pick another one, and then you pick another one, and you pick another one, okay? I know 2 works. So now I divide it out. These are the steps you have got to remember. Guess a number. As soon as you get one that equals 0, divide it out. So we guess a number. It equals 0. We divide it out. Then what? What's the next step in the process? X squared plus 9x plus 1. And if it factors, we should factor it, right? But there has been one on every practice test that didn't factor. Only one that didn't factor, and this one doesn't. So what do we do if it doesn't factor? The quadratic formula. I didn't wear my socks today, so you're on your own. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And yes, you need to be able to do that by yourself. So if you're just copying down what I wrote, that's fine, but make sure you can do it on your own.
But you said that those didn't taste good.
It doesn't, but I bought it, so I'm going to finish it. So what do I have under the radical? Oh, my favorite number, 77.
What's your favorite number?
I graduated from high school in 1970.
Wow.
Woo! I know, I'm just old, okay?
Oh my God.
And that does not break down, so that's the answer to the question. Oh, no, it's not. I almost made the big mistake. What else is an answer?
1,
X
2.
Two. There are 3 answers to the problem, kids. 2 of them came from the quadratic, c plus or minus, that's 2. But don't forget the one that we guessed right off the bat. There are 3 answers to the problem. I was getting so excited. All right, number 10. Come on, let's get it done. Number 10. We have 1 factor given. Back up. When I guessed this number and it gave me 0, didn't I know a factor then? I knew I had one. So once I knew a factor, what was the very first thing I did with it? Divided it out. So what we're going to do, kids, in problem number 10, is we're going to divide out the negative 2. We're going to divide out the negative 2. So here we go. Did we expect it to come out evenly there with no 0 or with a 0 there, no remainder? Yeah, because they told me it was a factor. So let me stop a minute. I know I'm rushing. When you know a factor, divide it out. Now what's left?
X squared
Plus 10x plus 21. Now what are we supposed to do with that? Factor it if it factors. I think this one does, doesn't it? 7 and 3. So what are the other 2 roots? They gave me negative 2. What are the other 2 that I had to find on my own? Negative 7 and negative 3. Negative 7 and negative 3. Huh?
Yeah, negative 2.
Well, this one, if you put that down, I wouldn't mark it wrong, but this one says find the others.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So, the other factors would be these, so if it says find the other factors, it's actually this. This is find the other roots, or find the other zeros. Alright, I'm not gonna mark that wrong. I want you to be able to get that far in the problem. So if you include the -2, I'm fine with that. Alright, number 11. Volume varies inversely as pressure. Stop. Do not read any further. Write me an equation that represents volume varies inversely as pressure. V equals K over P. How did we know it was K over P?
Inverse.
Inverse. That's what we do with inverse. If it were direct, it would be V equals K times P. Alright, next sentence. If the pressure is 12, the volume is 5. So you wrote your equation with the first sentence. In the second sentence, you plugged in the numbers they gave you, and that's going to tell you that K equals 60. Right? And now it says, find the pressure when the volume is 16. Back to my original equation. The volume is 16. K is 60. Find the pressure. How do I solve that equation? Multiply by P. So 16P equals 60. Times both sides by P. And then divide by 16. That reduces to 30 over 8 or 15 over 4. So your answer is 15 over 4.
My brain is like
Well,
I love it.
whatever I don't get done, you have to do for homework. So let's see if we get it done. All right, here we go. This is a big problem, but I think we can do it. List the PRRs. What are they?
1, 2, 4, and 8.
Plus or minus 1, 2, 4, and 8 over 1. Factors of last over factors of first. All right, so let's find them. Anybody see one right off the bat that works? 2 works? I'm taking your word for it.
No, we don't know.
By Joe, you got it.
Wow.
You got it. Those of you that said 2 works, you got it. It says find the factors. So since 2 worked, one of my factors is going to be x minus 2. This is the dot that goes on the number line. If you put a dot at 2, your factor was x minus 2. Alright, now I need the other factors. I got kind of a mess here. I'm down to here, right here. So what's that? X squared minus 3x minus 4. Does that factor?
Yeah.
That factors as x minus 4, x minus, plus 1. Where did the first factor come from? That was my guess, right? Your guess. The other 2 factors came from the quadratic. So there are the factors. Now it says sketch. You can do that. To sketch it, what do we need to do? Put the dots on, and the dots are going to be at 2 and 4 and -1. Is anything bouncing? Look at those factors there. Is anything bouncing or anything like that? Nope. It's a cube, so it starts down, ends up. That's all there is to it. Done. Now, speaking of sketching, look at that last, or that 13, number 13. Where are my dots gonna go?
-1 and 2.
-1 and 2, there's only 2 dots. There might only be 2 dots, but what's the degree? This is an x to the what? 4th. Now wait a minute, x to the 4th, start up and end up. But look carefully, this one's negative, so it's gonna start down and end down. Because of the negative out there in front, right? Now, what do I do when I hit this point? Bounce. What do I do when I hit that point? Bounce. Why am I bouncing, people? Because the factors are squared. All right, one more. We can do it. Nobody leaves.
Yes.
So we have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 6. Now, notice I didn't ask you for the PRRs because this one groups. If you want to do the PRRs, you can. Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Good for me too, no joke. Watch all this.
All right, you're staying an extra minute here. Everybody hang on. Notice the directions. It doesn't say find the PRRs. That is your clue that, oh, it must group. If you want to go ahead and PRR it, you can, but I'm going to go ahead and group it. So I'm going to take out an x squared. And a -4. So I have, watch it now, I have x squared minus 4 and x plus 2. There's my common factor, x plus 2. Now something's going to happen here, pay attention. When I factor that, I get x plus 2, x minus 2. Why does that matter to me? Why do I have to pay attention to it? There's 2 x plus 2's, which means that one is squared. There's 2 of them. So when I sketch it, I'm going to put dots at 2 and -2. It's a cube, starts down. When it hits -2 though, it's going to bounce off and go through that one. All right, next time I see you, we have a test. Remember, I'll be in here tomorrow during class if you've done some studying. All righty, you're out of here.
Wow, that was productive.